Talk, shop, pop, movies. Woke.
I saw the first Hocus Pocus the weekend it came out in theaters back in July 16th of 1993, just 2 weeks shy of my 8th birthday. The film was made for a surprisingly high $28 million, which back in 1993 could and should afford you a fairly high quality looking film and not a direct-to-video-esque aesthetic that this film seemed to have throughout. And it would seem, due to its recent surge in popularity, that the movie was a smash hit with audiences worldwide, which it wasn't. It made $45 million off of its $28 million budget. Ooh, big money. I mean, come on. Being a kid at the time, I always still looked forward to seeing kids' movies in theaters, but having grown up and seeing real horror films or more adult fare, such as RoboCop, Total Recall, Toxic Avenger, various Friday the 13th sequels, and the Nightmare on Elm Street series, by the time this film even came out, it was just kind of whatever. So a scary kids film was kind of a tough sell for me at the time because, like I said, I was already used to seeing actual horror movies. And even though I was looking forward to it, I was still extremely underwhelmed by it. And almost 30 years later, somehow, the few shreds of nostalgia I have for the film aren't nearly enough to sustain the need for an unnecessary sequel. A sequel that I essentially thought no little different about on Disney+. Our story starts with 3 female teenager leads,
Sexist.
Becca, Izzy, and Cassie, who are into witchcraft because of course they are. As is the style nowadays, each of these 3 girls are legally obligated to be a different ethnicity from one another.
Woke.
Becca and Izzy have fallen out with their rich white friend Cassie,
Racist.
who happens to be the daughter of the town's mayor,
Political.
because she committed the crime of wanting to hang out with other people, including her also white boyfriend.
Sexist.
They frequent a local magic shop, which is owned and run by a young African-American man
Woke.
named Gilbert. Gilbert is in possession of Book from the original film, you know, the book with the one eyeball that moves around. In my opinion, Book is the best character in this film, and that's kind of weird and sad. Anywho, he is obsessed with the Sanderson sisters, obviously, owning the magic shop and whatnot, and he secretly makes Becca, the lead girl, a black flame candle for her to light on the full moon Halloween ritual thing that will make the Sanderson sisters come back, because he secretly knows she's turning 16 that day and that she is a virgin.
Predatory.
Of course, the girls light it, the Sanderson sisters return, and they go off and make all the same jokes they made in the first film,
Fan service.
including making multiple unnecessary musical numbers. 90 or so minutes go by, and Becca discovers that she truly is a witch and has these abilities. And she has the ability to defeat all these Sanderson sisters on her own.
Woke.
And everybody lives happily ever after. Staying in tradition with movies nowadays, for no reason whatsoever, the sequel is like 20 minutes longer than the original. People don't know how to pace films anymore. I always thought the first one was slower than it needed to be, and it's like an hour and a half long. I tried to find what the budget was for this sequel, and the only thing I could find was that it was exactly the same amount as the original, $28 million, which 30 years later does not buy you nearly as much movie. And this movie, not surprisingly, definitely seems like a direct-to-streaming Disney movie, with the only advantage being that digital video has come far enough to look better than what a TV movie would have looked like 30 years ago. But it still has not very much production value, even in comparison with the first film. Back in 1993, I figured there was only two kinds of kids who would actually like this movie. Young girls, because there is a plethora of female characters that they could possibly relate to, which is a good thing. And two, kids with lame parents who wouldn't let them watch actual horror movies, so they had to settle for PG-rated mediocrity. And now in 2022, I have a feeling that there are two people who would like this type of movie. Young girls, because the film has plenty of female characters that they could potentially relate to. And adults who had lame parents that wouldn't let them watch real horror movies back when they were kids 30 years ago. So those are essentially my thoughts on Hocus Pocus, and especially its sequel, Hocus Pocus 2, or as I like to call it, Wokeus Pocus. All in all, I have little to no interest in this franchise. I never really have, outside of wanting to see the original one and being hugely disappointed in it upon seeing it in theaters. I would have much rather seen that $28 million go towards something original that wasn't filled with unnecessary fan service. They need to take that $28 million and put it towards a new Marvel movie with more male leads and explosions and special effects. That's what they needed to do with that money. I am Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. This has been my second October video, #October. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.
I'm obviously being sarcastic this entire time. If you don't know me, that's the joke. I wasn't going to explain it, but now I feel like I have to because people get offended so easily.